I need to have a really honest conversation with you about something. I'm a pediatric nurse and I've been doing this for over 15 years. I've helped countless families with newborns and breastfeeding. And when I got pregnant with my first, I thought I had it all figured out, but I didn't. And I think we're doing a massive disservice to pregnant women and new moms by not talking about the gap between what we expect and what actually really happens. I think on social media and out in the world and just talking to other people, there's this fantasy that's sold to new moms and pregnant women. There's this fantasy about what our birth is going to be like. There's these expectations and pressure on us to have a natural and beautiful delivery. There's so many opinions on all of this stuff, and it can be so overwhelming, and it can set moms up for this feeling of failure, which shouldn't exist. There's a ton of pregnancy content out there that tends to show all the positives and to make women feel bad when things don't go according to plan or the way we expect them to go. There's a lot of expectations with breastfeeding, and we know it's one of the best things you can do for your baby. Yes, absolutely. But when we're so rigid in our ideas and our expectations of how things can go, it can really set us up for so much disappointment. The first is breastfeeding is natural, so it'll be easy. The reality is this is far from the truth. I just want you to know that in my breastfeeding journey, I learned that being a good mom isn't about checking boxes. It's about meeting your baby's needs with your set of circumstances and showing up consistently and being present every day and just trying your best. I mean, even myself, as a pediatric nurse with years and years of experience and a medical background, I thought I was going to be this amazing breastfeeding mom without a ton of struggle. And what I now know, and after my first baby, was how hard it is. It's so challenging. It's just not something that you're used to. It's not something that your body is used to. And there's a learning curve. Every baby's different. Every new mom is different. The way our milk comes in is different. Things going on with our baby can be different. Every pregnancy is different, whether you've breastfed before and been really successful with it. Each baby is different, and your journey for each baby is totally different. For my first, I remember crying, just like breaking down and crying because I was in so much pain with my nipples and just getting used to having a baby latching on me almost 24/7 because they nurse so much and so frequently in the beginning. And just this immense sense of pressure and responsibility for this new life that I love so much, this baby, and I wanted to protect and nourish him. And it just was a lot of pressure. And I feel like I was somebody who had all this experience and all this knowledge that many women don't have. And it still was really hard and a struggle for me. I have years and years of experience in helping moms and babies with breastfeeding, but again, when it came to breastfeeding my own babies, there were challenges and bumps along the way. Every baby is different. It wasn't always easy. Me, the professional with years and years of experience, was crying and sobbing at 2 a.m. wondering, how much longer can I do this? I've been there. I've been in the trenches. I get it, mama. If you're there now, it gets better. It will get better. Maybe it's going to get better in a way that wasn't what you had planned. But it'll get better and you're gonna get through this. Another one is my baby will latch right away. The reality is that some babies have tongue ties and oral restrictions, tightness in their mouth, tightness in their body that has to get worked out. So no, your baby doesn't always latch right away, and it doesn't mean you're failing as a mom. It doesn't mean you're not doing an amazing job and giving it your all. It just means we need to pivot a little bit and we need to address those issues. The next expectation is it's just gonna hurt for the first few weeks or the first couple days, and then it'll be fine. The reality of that is that it doesn't just hurt for that amount of time for some women. Sometimes it can hurt for weeks or months. And sometimes there are other medical issues that come up or that are going on causing an underlying problem, and it may hurt longer than that. So I cover all of these things in my course that you can find at passableparent.com to help you throughout that journey and that process. But, that's not always the case, and there are different things that we can do to treat that pain and treat that discomfort. You shouldn't have to suffer for a prolonged period of time, but the reality of, it'll just hurt for a little bit and then it'll be fine, isn't always the case. The next expectation is that my milk will come in and then everything will click. The reality is that every woman's milk comes in at different times, and some women really struggle with milk supply. So that can be totally mentally draining for someone to be putting in so much effort and to see so little milk coming out. It is exhausting. You're giving it your all, and to then, work and work and work and see small volumes of milk is so heartbreaking and mentally draining and discouraging. So that can happen, and it can happen for many different reasons. Do you have vitamin deficiencies? Do you have an infection or an underlying medical condition? Are you not pumping and extracting the milk enough or as frequently enough as needed? Is your baby have a poor latch where they're being brought to breast but they're not extracting that milk? There are so many underlying reasons, and that expectation can be really harmful. So it's important to be informed about the things that might go wrong, so that way you're not set up for disappointment, and you can instead turn that disappointment that you might be feeling into a solution. The next expectation is that formula for a breastfeeding mom is the last resort. This expectation can be so harmful and so untrue. Sometimes formula is the thing that is needed to get you to the next step, to get you to a successful breastfeeding journey. Sometimes supplementing with formula is what helps get you there, and it's needed. It can be a useful tool in your journey. It doesn't have to be a setback. Now, if you are supplementing, it's important that when you supplement, you are pumping during that time. If you're giving a bottle of formula, you're pumping to make sure your body still knows that every time your baby gets a bottle, you still need it to make breast milk if your end goal is to not supplement anymore. But the slogan, fed is best, is not just a slogan, it's the truth. So give yourself some grace. Formula is not failing. Formula is a useful tool, and it is not always necessary, but if you need it, it's okay to use it and do your research and find the best one. So if you're going through it right now, if you're in the trenches, mama, or if you're a pregnant or expecting mom, I just want you to give yourself grace and know that things in life don't always go according to plan, but we can always pivot and we can always rise to the occasion and figure out what's best for us at the time. It's hard to go into something and say, it has to be this way. We know this is how it has to be. This is what's best. This is what I'm going to do. It's easy to say that before you're in the experience, right? Before you have this happening to you. So I just want you to go into your journey and just have an open mind and give yourself grace along the process. Things don't always go according to plan, and that's okay. It's all about how we pivot, right? And your baby needs you and loves you, and you're a mom, and you're an amazing mom, no matter what your breastfeeding journey looks like, no matter what your new motherhood journey looks like. I just want to take a minute to let you guys know about the breastfeeding course that I designed for you, so that way hopefully in your journey it can be a lot easier. I've taken everything I've learned through my years and years of experience helping new moms with breastfeeding, and also my experience for the past 5 years breastfeeding my 3 children, and I've put it all into one course. I talk about everything I wish someone had told me, and I think knowledge is power. So if you're pregnant, now's a great time to watch the course. If you're in your breastfeeding journey and you're struggling, you're not alone. While there are so many common issues we face, it's easy to feel alone in it, and you're not alone, and that's why I designed this course. So we'll jump right back into the video, but I just wanted to take a chance to tell you about my course. Another thing that I feel like does a major disservice to women is that birth expectation, that labor and delivery experience. I've heard so many moms that are terrified to have a C-section, and I get it. I was that mom too. I totally get it. But there's a lot of things in life that we can do and we can control, and we can try and set ourselves up for success. And I talk about that in a lot of my videos that you'll find on this channel. Things we can do to set ourselves up for success, how we can be informed with labor and delivery. But there's also an element of life that is totally out of our control, and that applies to everything in life. So we see all these beautiful birth stories and these women who are completely amazing and powerful and can be unmedicated, and that's great and wonderful for them, but that's not everyone's journey. And all we can do is try our best, be the most informed that we can be, ask questions, even when there's pushback from providers, advocate for ourselves, advocate for our baby, but also keep an open mind on, what is going to get baby here safely, what is going to keep me safe for my baby. And especially being a mom, one of my favorite things of saying now is if I just adjust my expectations, like if I go into a situation where my expectations are low, I'm always pleasantly surprised. Like that has been something that has really helped in motherhood, right? Like, okay, we're going to go to this restaurant, for example, tonight. I'm taking my 3 kids, I'm going in with like no expectations. This could be crazy. We could leave with like all 3 kids in tears and, we just paid for this dinner that nobody really ate. And then I'm usually so pleasantly surprised if I just go into it with those expectations, and I try and set the kids up for success, set us up for success to have a pleasant experience. Like, what can we do? What can we play with while we're at the table that doesn't disrupt all the other diners here? There's things you can do to set yourself up for success, but just going in with low expectations sometimes really can help because you're not so stuck. You're not so like hardened and like this is how it has to go for it to be beautiful. Your birth can be beautiful no matter how it goes. It's all your mindset and how you respond to it. And it could go exactly how you have in your head. There's so many things you can do to prepare yourself for labor and delivery and set yourself up for success. But you also want to give yourself grace. That's my number one thing I can't stress enough. Like, be kind to yourself. You're amazing. You deserve kindness. You want your child to feel kindness and grace and go through life being kind and graceful to themselves. So you need to set the example and do it for yourself. So I know there's all this pressure out there and all these conflicting sides of labor and delivery and different people's experiences, but you will have your own unique experience and it will be beautiful, and it may be a journey. It might not be easy. There's going to be hard times. Not enough people talk about that, but it's your unique experience and it's a part of life, and it's all your mindset and how you look at it. I remember thinking I was going to labor at home peacefully and calmly and then go to the hospital super calm. That was not the case. Labor is painful, but it's okay. We all can do hard things. We all have had painful experiences. There's different ways that you can manage your pain and deal with your pain. And the mindset that you can get yourself in, a lot of labor and delivery is a total mental game. So, but it's okay to talk about that it's painful. It's okay to not be calm. Like this, just having this expectation where you have to be calm as a cucumber and, just go into labor and delivery not feeling, the weight of it is a little unrealistic to put on women. I mean, I don't know. It wasn't my experience. Everyone's different, but I think putting that pressure on yourself is unrealistic. Another thing that I want to talk about that I see a lot of women disappointed with and struggle with and afraid to talk about is they see that everybody talk about how they have this immediate strong love and connection for their baby. Now, sometimes love and connection, it's like any other relationship. It takes time to grow. So having that expectation on yourself, if that's not your experience, if you have like a traumatic birth experience where you're separated from your baby or your breastfeeding journey isn't going the way you had in your head pictured, these are all things. And then there's so many other things that can contribute to you just not feeling that immediate, strong, magical connection that other moms might talk about. This is also one of those scenarios where you need to be kind to yourself and give yourself grace and time to develop that bond and that connection with your baby. What are some things that you can do to develop that bond and that connection? So things that, aren't, maybe painful in the beginning or struggle, right? So can you look for activities with your baby out and about? Like I went to these beautiful mom and baby yoga classes, and it was such a great way to connect with my baby. And there's all these mommy and me classes with singing to your baby, and even just a nice walk outside with your baby in the fresh air, change of scenery. Just think about the different ways that you can connect with your baby. And if you're feeling those feelings and you feel ashamed or sad because you just thought it was going to be different, please reach out to somebody and talk to them. I think that a lot of moms feel this way. So I don't think that every mom is going to be honest, and I think they don't know who to talk to about it either. A lot of moms and people put on a brave face and they want to fake it till they make it, and maybe faking it till they make it and not talking about the hard feelings and the hard stuff helps them fake it until they make it, until they feel it, right? So maybe it's fake it until they feel it, right? I've been a parent for 5 years, and I have 3 little ones under 5 years old. And I can tell you honestly and truthfully, even as a professional in this industry who has tons of experience, every day I'm just trying my best and I'm still learning. And the important thing is that I care and I'm invested and I want to learn. I want to do better. Every day I want to do better than the day before, right? And that's all we can do as parents. And if you ask me, that's an amazing mom. What I want to talk about is, why do we need to talk about this stuff? Why was this video so important for me to make for all of you? There's so much harm in unrealistic expectations. It can contribute to postpartum depression and anxiety. It contributes to mom guilt and shame. It makes moms feel like a failure when feeding or birth doesn't go the way they had in their head, the way they expected, according to their plans. And there's also that social media comparison trap. The things that I want to focus on that actually matter are a healthy mom and a healthy baby. Mental health over the perfect birth. A fed baby that's happy and healthy and meeting milestones over a breastfed baby. And grace for yourself. In my 15 years as a pediatric nurse, do you want to know the one thing that I've never seen? That's a 5-year-old who can tell me that they were breastfed over formula fed, and that it was a way better experience for them. A 5-year-old that can tell me whether they had a vaginal birth or a C-section, or if their mom had an epidural or not, or if their mom tore and what degree they tore. You know what I do see? I see the impact on maternal mental health and how that impacted the child. I see the difference between moms who have support and have grace for themselves when things don't go the way they had expected or according to plan, and how they pivot. That's what I see, and those are the effects that I see. So I want to leave you with some advice before we end this video. My advice, and what I wish I had known, would be to have your birth plan and be informed, but to also be willing to adapt and pivot as things come up, to strongly advocate for yourself and know your options, but to be flexible in doing what's best for you and your baby. My next advice is that breastfeeding is not instinctual. It's not innate. Even though it's natural and it can be very beautiful, it's a journey and it's a learned skill. It doesn't come easy for everyone. And there's struggle in it. Even for those that make it look easy, there's struggle. I don't know one mom who didn't have some sort of struggle in their journey, despite the brave face that we wear and put on for the public. And it's not just a skill that you have to learn as mom. It's a skill for baby too. They're so new in this world, they're figuring it all out. And while they have some strong instincts, they still have to figure it out too. It's like a dance, and you're working together to figure out the steps in that dance and how it's going to work best for both of you. The next piece of advice that I want to give you is that the first 2 weeks are survival mode. These are survival mode, and they're not Pinterest moments or that perfect Instagram post that you saw. Those are just highlights. Those are snapshots in someone else's journey, and they're beautiful and wonderful, and they should be celebrated to look back on for that family. But it's not for everyone, and it's not perfect. You don't see the behind the scenes, right? We don't post the behind the scenes all the time. So keep in mind that those first 2 weeks really are survival mode. My next piece of advice is that your birth story is valid, and it doesn't matter how it went. It's valid and it's important, and You might have some things you have to work through from that experience, right? It might have been a lot. That's all normal and that's okay. And if you need to talk about it with somebody, it's important that you find someone that you can trust and you can talk to about that. My next piece of advice is that I'm a strong advocate for breastfeeding. I developed a course to help many of you with breastfeeding, and I have breastfed all my children. But it's also really important to keep an open mind. I never know what might happen to me. I never know where life might take me, what my journey might look like. And formula is not something to be ashamed of. It can be a tool, and it can be really helpful, and it can actually help support your breastfeeding journey. So it's really important to sort of shift that mindset. We don't have to be all one thing or all another thing, right? We don't have to have this division. Like, that can be applied to so many things in life and in the world right now, right? So, we don't have to be one or the other. We can be open to different things, and we can try and choose what's best and make the best of the scenario and be, the healthiest and try, to make the best with what we have. But it's really important to understand that there are a lot of tools that are available to you, and formula might be one of them in your journey. The next thing I want to leave you with is that you're not less of a mom if things don't go as planned. You're an amazing mom, and your baby needs you. No one can ever take that from you. You are your baby's mother, and you are a critical and important role in your baby's life. For the rest of your life, you are going to be an important and critical member of your baby's life. So it's really important that you keep that in mind. Just because things don't go according to plan, it doesn't make you less than. The next thing that I want to say is that postpartum can be harder than anyone really can articulate or tell you, right? We all have our own journey, and we all have our own struggles in postpartum, and it's a lot. There's a lot going on mentally and physically, and you just don't know until you experience it for yourself what your journey is going to be. And it's okay if it's not glamorous. It's okay if it's not, this amazing experience that you love, right? We're all different, we're all unique, and it's hard, right? It's really hard. But there are things we can do to try and keep an open mind and be positive throughout the process. So my tips for you before you leave this video are to have a backup plan for feeding. So educate yourself, know what your options are. Find a course. You can find mine at www.passableparent.com. Make sure you learn as much as you can so that when obstacles arise, you know how to address them head on, and that you can minimize the amount of downsides and struggle that you're going through. Knowledge is power, and that really can apply to so many things, including feeding your baby. The next tip that I have for you is to line up your support system before you give birth and to know when to ask for help. And the final thing I'm going to leave you with is to protect your mental health. You and your mental health are so important to your baby. So that is crucial for you to make choices and set yourself up so that you're supporting yourself and your needs and your mental health. Because mama, your baby needs you. If you're pregnant right now and watching this, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you, because the gap between expectation and reality is where so much postpartum suffering lies. And I want you to know that whatever happens with your birth or has already happened with your birth, and whatever happens with your feeding or is happening with your feeding journey right now, whatever struggles, you are still an amazing mom. Your baby doesn't need perfect. They need you. So drop a comment below. I'd love to hear from you, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. And let me know, where are you at in your journey? And what were your expectations versus reality with your birth or your feeding journey? Drop them down below. Let's talk about it. And if you found this helpful, please share it with a pregnant friend or a new mama. I think we owe it to each other to be honest about this stuff. And if you want evidence-based, real talk parenting advice and tips from a pediatric nurse and a mom of 3 under 5 who is actively in the trenches with all of you, make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm here for the messy, real, imperfect parts of motherhood. See you in the next video.